pick audit first because people say that, oh, you want to talk to a lot of people, you want to like travel around, you want communication, go to audit. Tax people don't have that skills. And then when I changed to tax, it was like, it's not true at all. I look at people like managers or above, they have to communicate with clients about like financials, about planning, about advice and everything. Literally, you have to communicate with clients a lot. They say like, oh, doing tax, you don't have to do a lot of writing. No, you have to like do research. It's writing there. You have to write about your research, explaining to the client. That's something I learned in tax, that like when I changed to tax, it's just like amazing.
And you also change how you talk to clients because clients are not accountants. So you need to be able to modify your communication that a client understands what you are trying to get from them and what the end result is when you are delivering your product. So it is not accountant language.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's where I think most of the confusion comes in, is that people think that just because you prep a return, if we are talking about tax, here's your tax return, here's your number, this is what you owe, this is what you refund, call it a day. But no, you have to be able to explain to a client why things are happening, how certain things they can make a change to, and which results a better tax savings or better allocation of their different activities that they do to help them to reach their goals and dreams. Because we are providing not a service, but we are helping them to achieve their dreams and goals. And that's where our communication accountants have been insufficient, not only towards to the public, but towards to our candidates or people who are in school. That look at it, accounting has so many faceted, so many great opportunities in it, and it's endless. It's literally endless because every day you're doing something different. Yes, a tax return, a 1040 is a 1040 for individual return wise, but everybody's income is a little bit different. They get W-2, they have self-employment income, they have certain type of deductions, they own a house, they don't own a house, they're looking to start a business. A lot of different things that results in everybody is unique in their tax circumstances. And every day you're doing something brand new or changing someone's life for the better, hopefully.
Can you share with us one example that you help the client, or one example that when you communicate with the client that's very challenging to you?
I have a couple. A lot of our clients are fantastic because we also specialize on people who have had challenges or they were out of compliance for a long time. So one of the examples, there was a lady who started her business. She had really bad advices and she didn't file returns. She never did, unfortunately, things right when it comes to accounting. And she was very worried about shutting down her business because she thought that she's losing money, because she went into some bigger stores where they were asking her, she was selling a specific product, and they were asking her to set up certain things, buy into certain things, and she only saw that money is going out the door, but she had very little revenue coming in. But at the end of the day, when we helped to finish the bookkeeping and fix all the mistakes that happened, she saw what her path was after that. And she had the ability to grow her business 2-folds, 3-folds, 5-folds after that, because she no longer was stressed of, oh my God, I'm going under. But no, I have a clear path. Yes, I have these tax debts because I haven't paid taxes. Yes, I have these outstanding loans that I borrowed, but now I have a proper cash flow. Now I understand what's coming in, what's going out, how I'm spending my money, right? And what are the activities that are generating me money? What are the activities that don't generate me money within my business? And she now understood how much time it took her to overcome the prior challenges and then grow her future.
She must feel so thankful after the conversation with you.
Well, it was a lot of work. Again, accountants cannot do it by themselves. That's where communication comes in. That's where you have to be able to talk to a client, because you need bank statements, credit card statements, or whatever those documents are. And you need to be able to communicate what things you need and how you need in order to help the client. So it is like a therapy session as well. So we are literally like therapists for some of our clients as a result, because we are helping them to realize that they have something successful and something great in their head. That was helping somebody come into compliance and fixing things. We had another client, as an example, an attorney, professional service-wise. They were mismanaged by a prior accountant. They had audit. And we went through on their books and records, and we were very upfront with the auditor about it, to see what we needed, how we needed, and of course it was middle of COVID on top of it. And we, instead of saying that these are the facts and figures, a lot of accountants will try to come up with stories, right? Try to help the client, but that doesn't help the client. We sat down with the client and said, these are the areas that are our challenges, and these are the areas where we're going to tell the auditor that these and these are wrong on our books right now, and these are the things that we missed, not we, but previously when it was filed the return by the prior accountant, and we will work with the auditor to fix these. So we were audited in 2018. They found deficiency of income. We managed to secure most of the expenses properly because the accounting was done incorrectly. So our good news was our expenses were in order, our revenues were a little bit off. And therefore, we were able to show the auditor that we are open books. We are here to help the client and help the audit. Of course, there was findings and so forth, but the client understood what the mistakes were, and it's clear. The auditor was very happy that we were able to disclose everything to them. And then when next year's audit kicked in, it was a much more suited audit. Rather than everything, it was more focused on certain areas. And at the end of the day, when we told the client, yes, there was another audit issue because those were prior year 18 and 19 returns that were filed previously. There's nothing I could have done with that, right? But we corrected it. We showed the auditor what are the deficiencies are, and the case was closed, and the taxpayer ended up, unfortunately, because they were previously relying on prior accountant's advice and so forth, they had a reasonable cause, so we were able to avoid penalties. Taxes and interest was owed, right? Failure to issue 1099 miscellaneous for independent contractor work for those years, they get a penalty. There was nothing we could do with it, right? The law is the law. If we break it, there are consequences. But because those two things happened, the client, when we told them that we had finally closed 2019 also, and everything is going as we were anticipating, broke down in tears and says, you just saved our marriage. Because of the stress, because of all the things that they were going through. Because taxes, people think it's easy. But when things are done wrong, whether it was intentional or it was accidental, right? Whether it was a good practitioner helping the client or it was just not well-equipped practitioner helping the client, mistakes happen. We all work, right? It's nature of life. And so, but we were able to explain to the client what things are right, what things are wrong, so they could prepare properly, rather than facing those sleepless nights and stress. Of course, they had plenty of that. But at the end of the day, they will be one of those clients who will be with us forever because of what we can deliver. And that's where we are not delivering a tax return. And that's most people confusion is. We are not only delivering a service, but we are delivering value to our clients. And there will be clients who appreciate it, and there will be clients who will not appreciate it. It's just life, right?
How can you get all this experience? Because you didn't have experience doing tax communication with clients. I know you have 12 years in financial, in industry, but it is different. Now you go start a practice, you need to now learn how to talk in tax knowledge, in tax terms, and how to go deep in the situation, in the issues, in the mistakes. I know you have a great mentor, but he or she is not going to tell you like, oh, this is what it is, this is what you're supposed to do. How do you teach yourself all this?
So these examples, what I just gave you a minute ago, were not when I started. These are current or last few years worth of examples. When I started out as a solo practitioner back in 2012 range and so forth, I started with easy clients, right? So I didn't try to save the world because I didn't have the skill set. But at every client that I took on was more and more complex. And I said, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and I have to figure it out because no one else will figure it out for me. It was very hard and very challenging. And I don't recommend everybody start a practice out of the get-go after they got licensed. It was just my life path that resulted that I started out of practice as such. If I could have started with somebody else under their wings and learn in their practice all the pros and the cons and everything else, I would have a much more different practice area. But that's life. And so when I started out, it was simple returns, W-2s, 1099, self-employed businesses, and so forth. Then I added more and more complex stuff. And fortunately, now we have very diverse and very strong clientele as a result.
That made me think that how can you balance your life?
Remember, you have only 24 hours a day. And that's where you have to figure out what in accounting interests you. I love taxes, so every minute that I spent was not work. Every client challenges or issues that I needed to be resolved, it was not a problem. It was a task at hand and an opportunity to prove myself to myself and to the client that I can deliver.
So I was wondering how you have time for your family.
I was very fortunate because I have a very supporting family who were helping me to make sure that I can grow the practice, and they supported my dream to become a CPA, sole practitioner originally, and then later on grow the practice. So I was very fortunate. But again, you have 24 hours a day. You have to understand that you can spend 24 hours learning about taxes and it's still not enough. So you figure out the boundaries. You figure out how you build a practice step by step, client by client, and you accomplish as much as you can every single day. Just like how if you are employed somewhere, right? You go to work, you work sometimes 8, sometimes 10 hours a day. It's just life until you get the right skill set. In accounting, what most people think, not accountancy as us or people who are studying to become an accountant, but external people, they think that you should know everything right away. And that's where it's practice, it's experience, it's years that you get there. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not a push of a button on an app. Sorry to say.
That's true. I just studied tax. My friends, my families asking like, oh, about this, how about that? What form, this form? It was like, okay, let me do some research.
And you have to have the right mentors around you. So if you're working in a bigger firm, there's a lot of people who can help you because there are all those resources. I was fortunate that I had a lot of great mentors around me. They were partners in 10 to 15 employees, firm partners. And so I had a variety and different people that I could tap into for different issues. Because when you read a tax matter, it's not black and white. Right? In accounting, it always the answer is it depends, especially in tax. And so over time, with practice, with experience, all of these things start to click in. And there's a lot of resources that you can turn to. That's the beauty of tax.
How do you find your mentors? How do you start the conversation and then express your concerns or your goals in the future, and then you can find a good chemistry with mentors? How does that happen, or how did that happen?
It's an unlimited opportunity to connect with other professionals. A lot of my great mentors came from CalCPA. So I attended different events and then I chatted with people. And then we became friends. And then, time to time pick up the phone and they ask me a question, I answer a question, I ask a question. It's just natural. You have to understand that there are people in our profession, in tax especially, that they are just dying to share their knowledge and their experience with everybody. And so I was fortunate enough to find great people like that. And that's just, events or through friend of a friend or time to time that, I picked up a call and said, hey, do you know somebody in this area? And I want to pay for their time to help me to understand pieces, because that's what they learned, right? You value their skill set. Some cases they wanted me to pay, some cases they didn't. And then it becomes friendships and or professional relationships, depending on how that, evolve over time. But that's beauty of it. Accounting and accountants, there's so many of them in LA and so many great practitioners that you can always find to be a resource.
Because you're so busy, do you have any hobbies? How's your life at this stage right now? Because as like young people who looking up for CPAs, or people in accounting who comparing like, should I be a CPA or not? They was wondering if you are happy when you are a CPA, if you can balance your life being a CPA and having a family.
You have to find the right balances. You can always overwork in any career if you want. There's no ifs and buts about it. Whether you are in accounting or whether you are in movies, doesn't matter. And not as an accountant. You can always work more than the number of days are available or the number of hours are available. I'm extremely happy that I became an accountant and I became a CPA. I would never change it in a million years. So I wish I would have realized what my accounting professor told me when I was freshman. But that's life, right? I can't go back and change things because I would be 12 years ahead versus where I am. But that's okay. How you find work-life balance? First and foremost, you need to make sure that you select a field that is a career, not a job, but that makes you want to do it every day, day in and day out. Because if you are working and you are performing the task at hand and you love what you do, then it's not a chore. It's not something I have to do, but it's something that you enjoy and strive to do. So if you are lucky enough to, for example, being in tax and you love tax as a result, then every hour, every minute that you spend is not difficult. It's fantastic. Yes, there are difficult moments and mistakes and or things to untangle. That's life, right? But you can get that done. But that will help overcome majority of the problem that most people face, because most people will say, I'll just get a job that pays my bill, whether I like it or I don't, I will just do that, right? If you have the opportunity, make sure that you select a job that becomes your career and your life passion. That will overcome a lot. So when you work 5 hours or 10 hours, you will still love what you do. And work-life balance, accounting is a very demanding job, by all hands down, right? Because we use our brains, we think through stuff, and there's never a right or wrong answer right away. It's not a multiple choice question, but life factual circumstances. So if you do this, then the end result of that is pros and cons, and then whether the client will follow what you tell them to do, that's a separate life, right? I always tell my clients there's a tax world and there's real world. I will tell you because everybody wants to know what the most tax optimized situation is. And I'll tell them that this is your most tax optimized situation is, but now tell me what you can make this happen out of it, because then we have to modify it to meet those pieces to your real life, right? Because life happens and you not always can follow the steps that you prescribe for yourself. With work-life balance, you just have to understand when your body no longer can do it and take a break, because it's a high demanding job. Now, additionally, because of COVID, a lot of industry is impacted, right? And accountants are very much impacted because we not only have all of these tax law changes, this major legislation, whether it was PPP or whether it was the child tax credits or ARPA or all of these different new taxes or tax law changes that they implemented. But our clients were in dire situation. Now I'm talking as a tax professional. And it was rough. Hands down, the last 2 years has been very, very challenging for all of us. But if you look at it as a challenge and difficulty, or you can look at it as an opportunity to improve and modify things. And there will be an incredible amount of changes the next 5 to 10 years we as tax professionals can do. I sometimes joke, it's not exactly correct, but I sometimes joke that people think us and some of our tools that we use are stuck in the 1990s. On certain things, like the way we are handling taxes, majority of us, is like what has happened when the ATM machines were out. Instead of going to the ATM, you walk to the teller, deposit the money or get money from the teller. If you're as old as I am, you remember these things, and that's what you did, even though there was the ATM machine right outside. If you ask somebody who are 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old, do you ask them, have you ever seen a banker? They probably will say, who is the banker? I just snap a picture on my phone and it deposits it. So we accountants are going through a huge transformation, but a positive transformation. A lot of people think that, oh my God, I'm going to lose a job. No. The tools that we are developing, not we, but the industry is developing, or the disruptive tools that are coming into our world, are going to benefit and enhance our deliverables and our ability to be much better what we do at. So If there are tasks that can be automated, let's automate that, right? Because that will make more time for the tax practitioner to attend new continuing education or deepen their skill sets in areas that is something that they are interested about. Like we do a lot of international tax matters. So if I can automate the simple task for a lot of other areas, I have that much more time to be much more proficient on the international tax laws because they are ever changing as well, and understand much more deeper on it. So our problem is communication. Instead of saying, hey, all of these tools that many of our students who are in colleges and universities right now are learning, and the new CPA exams that are coming in will give them tool sets that I don't have and I wish I would have, and they will be 10 times better than I will be. And there will be an incredible amount of opportunity to do business and make a living out of it, whether we are solo practitioner, or we are a partner in a firm or an employee at the firm. As long as the firm embraces it and drive those changes to the positive direction, there will be always plenty of work and opportunities for all of us.
You just mentioned a hot topic because a lot of students are people who are thinking about accounting. They're thinking that AI is going to replace everything in accounting. Why do we need accountants? Or like, if I'm going to be an accountant, I'm worried about this job is not stable anymore because AI is going to take over everything.
So you have to divide the industry between Fortune 500 type of companies where everything is standardized. So when you are talking about audit and AI, if I am and that's where the messaging has challenges, and we as accountants, practitioners, we have not properly explained it, is that, look, we implement AI. Now instead of doing sampling, we can review the entire financial statement of a company. We can, for example, pull in property tax statements and see whether loans will perform or not perform, because you can see who is paying, who is not paying their mortgages or utilities, and all of those different things. So these AI advancements that will come into audit will enhance and secure your knowledge, and your results will be much more reliable as long as the AI is programmed correctly. And that's where the people come in to play. AI is, people think that I just plug a machine in and it will do. No, we accountants have to define the parameters. We are the accountants who will program those to make it happen and show and check the areas. But our institutional knowledge, and that's where it becomes, accounting is just like a doctor, just like a lawyer, right? That's why they always used to talk about these three professions the same way. It goes well by age, because by age you have practice, experience, and you can see things that only stands out to you because you have been down the trenches, you have your battle scars. And the new entering professionals, early stage professionals, they will have tool sets and institutional knowledge option that they can merge it, and they can take their career way further than any of us can do right now. And so technology is a positive enhancement. So think about it as just like giving an extra skeleton, external skeleton, and now we can lift 1,000 pounds of stuff with a finger type of situation. That's what technology will give us, whether it's in audit or whether it's in tax. Yes. Can you import in a W-2? I'd rather import a W-2 information into a tax software than me manually typing in and transposing a number, right? That's where all of those things can get cut off. But again, when you're talking about big clients, like big firms, or you're talking about mom and pop or an individual businesses or an individual person, the transition will happen across the board, but at different stages, different improvements, and or different limitations, for example, AI will have, right? And yes, we have OCRs and all of those different things to help recognize invoices and a lot of stuff. That's the next 5-10 years that we can make our practices better. When we talk about tax, that we can now, instead of supporting 50 clients, just making up a number per person, now you can support 100, 150 clients, because your basic data flows in. You understand how numbers change because you are the subject matter expert. Now you can provide the guidance instead of 50 people, 100, 150 people, because the data gets populated. You review the accuracy, you review all of those pieces, and then you can deliver value to your clients, or you can deliver value to your team because you share your knowledge and or advance yourself in areas that are interest of you. So this is not a bad thing. It's an incredible positive opportunity, and I wish these changes happened 10 years ago. But it's okay. They are all happening now, and I will be just 10 years older by the time I will implement them.
As an employer, can you share with us what your expectation of the first year staff?
Yes, so it is very important that when we are adding a new person, the most crucial aspects that they have is their curiosity, their ethics, their willingness to work, and learn new things. That's the most important part. Everything else, technical skills and how to do stuff, processes and policies, you will learn it on the job. Those are the most crucial parts for a first year's associate to come in when they join our firm. Education is important, of course. It's very, very important, but it's more important that the person has the curiosity and the desire to want to succeed, because every day we are changing lives. Every day we are impacting somebody. So when somebody comes into our office, and I always ask to all of our associates, when you come in every day, please think how you can make things better and change to help and enhance our clients' lives, and of course, therefore, help us as a team better, so we are more, and we can deliver more and can make our clients happier across the board.
So I know that you also teach classes at OCC.
Yes.
And so can you share the reason why you become a professor, and also especially running your own big practice is already so busy. How can you manage the time?
So everything in life I consider a good accidents. I'm very fortunate. So the reason why I teach at OCC is because I was back in 2015, I was attending different accounting clubs and societies, talking about your potential for your future, whether you work at Big Four or you are running your own solo practice, and what your expectations are, like your ethics and life, how it impacts you. I was at Orange Coast College doing a presentation. I wasn't aware that the department chair was sitting in it. Few days later, they reached out to me, said, would you be interested to be a faculty member? And I said, I would absolutely love to, but I never taught. I never went to school to teach, to be an instructor or a professor. So they said, if you want to give a try, let's try for one semester. If you like it and the students like it and everything is going well, then you can keep on teaching. If not, then it was just a 1 year try, 1 semester try. Like again, previously I mentioned, everything in life, we can say it's a challenge or a difficulty or anything. Or just look at it, it's a great opportunity to test ourselves out and see how we make things better. So what has happened was I accepted. I was fortunate enough that I was offered, and I accepted. I was teaching for 1 semester and I learned a lot. I enjoyed it tremendously. The students seemed to like me because I'm still teaching. The department liked me, how I was doing things, because I was not trying to teach material in the book, but help the students to prepare what it means to be a CPA in a tax profession, and giving them the tool sets and the skills that needed how to prepare tax returns, because we made it as a interactive tax class rather than just learning about the tax laws. And I additionally learned an incredible lot from the students. So teaching and interacting with them helped me to be a better professional, because talking to them also helped me to be better communicating with our clients. So at the end of the day, even though I teach, I got way much more out of it because it helped me to be a better professional. And example, how we are interacting with our clients, we're no longer talking accountants. We are talking humans to them. Same way as we are dealing with our students in classroom, that how we are explaining the complexities, the tax matters, that helped us. So it's a win-win situation across the board, but I think I got more out of it. As a result, I'm fortunate enough in that sense that I can alter and make differences in our practice as a result.
And also during the conversation, you mentioned about CalCPA, about having your mentors, and then communicate with other professionals. And can you share with us your experience with CalCPA?
Yes. So after you become licensed, you have 1 year of automatic CalCPA membership. At that time, I did not know what CalCPA is. I knew that it was a professional organization, but other than that, I didn't know anything. And so when my 1 year free membership expired, I didn't have anybody to pay for it. There was no firm to pay for it. So I dropped it. And a few years later, I attended an attorneys, bankers, CPA event. One of the, it was over 300 people attended. So it was very overwhelming as a professional and not knowing anybody in that group. There came a wonderful lady outside while I was waiting outside to try to catch my breath and just understand where I am and what's happening, because I was deer in the headlights type of situation. There comes V. She was a past president of the LA chapter where I belong, where I live also. And so she talked to me and she was full of energy, full of love for our profession. She told me, let's go grab lunch one of these days. A 30-minute lunch became a 4-hour lunch, got me involved with CalCPA because I understood what it does for our profession as a young starting out professional, as well as for our seasoned members. And the rest, it was just history. And eventually I joined the board and became the president of the LA chapter. And then later on now I'm the vice chair of CalCPA, 45,000 member organization, advocating for our members and our profession in the state of California. So that's all of those things that you never know what happens. And attended other live events, met great friends, mentors, referral sources. It depends on what you are attending it for. And you met great people like you, Rosie. That's where we met. So you never know who you bump into, and it's a great place to mingle and create friendships for a lifetime.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all information you shared today, and also your time today as well to interview with us, and also share with people who are out there wondering if he or she should be a CPA or not, or if he or she should be involved in accounting career or not. Thank you so much again for your time.
Of course, Rosie. Thank you for having me.